Rob Williams is the national sports editor of the Daily Hive and its sports vertical offside. He joins us on Thursdays, and we have plenty to discuss, my friend, but I see you've already answered our Bodog poll question. The Canucks surrendering assets to trade up from number 11, as Patrick Alvin suggested yesterday. What do you think?
Yeah, as I replied, the number 11 pick, Raymond, Ballard, the rights to Leaf Rolene. Like, what assets do they have to move up in the draft? Hey, like, come on. Like,
if we're
Danila
trading
Klimovich, like, is that going to get it done? Come on.
If we're trading Leaf in Vancouver, that's a big gap on the humor side of our operation. We're going to need to fill that gap in free agency if we're trading Leaf.
Yeah, I like, what assets? Like, this team is there's not much in the cupboard. I don't see what they're trading. You know, they had to buy out OEL just to clear cap space. They've got all these players that are untradeable. Like, I just don't see what they're planning to trade to move up in the draft. Like, it just seems,
to me it was just a slogan of, hey, we're doing things, we're trying out here. We're making things happen. To me, that's all that was.
I think it was also a little bit of smokescreen. Teams that want to move up to number 11. Well, we're interested to move into the top 10. Just so you know, so the price is going to be high here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we do this at the draft every year, right? Every team's talking about moving up, moving down, making all these moves, and most teams kind of stand pat. I know the Canucks have moved picks a lot recently, but yeah, most of the time I would say this is a smokescreen. I would anticipate that this is a smokescreen as well.
Yeah, I mean, they trade out of picks. They don't tend to trade up or down from picks all that much. On the ongoing arena beat, Rob, no scoreboard at Rogers Arena.
Scoreboard is gone. I asked the Canucks. They did not want to comment on where their scoreboard is. Hopefully they know where it went. But yeah,
hopefully they don't. Hopefully they threw it out, Rob. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of funny. I'm getting a bit of a kick of the renovations that seem to be top secret this summer. It just kind of makes me want to know more, though. I think it's kind of a blessing in disguise that they're not giving us all the information here. It gives me lots to chew on. But as Patrick Johnson has been following this for months, saying that the team looks like they'll be getting a new scoreboard, and I think this is now the visual evidence that I think there's very good reason to expect a brand new scoreboard, which of course the one they had was, has been in place for approximately 15 years and was one of the oldest ones in the National Hockey League. So expect something bigger and fancier, I think, for next season.
What did they expect would happen with all these concerts and tours through there? They honestly didn't want to comment on any of these renovations, and yet people are in that building all through the summer. Like, what did they expect?
Yeah. We also saw more black seats from the image that was posted on Twitter. We also saw that the ring beam is now being taken off. And of course, the ring beam came into play when they brought in the new scoreboard.
You talking about like in the stands or at the top of the glass? You mean?
No, the one in the stands, like in front of the front row of the upper bowl, where sometimes you see Daily Hive's logo at games.
That's right. You see the Sekeres and Price one at BC Place for Lions games, and
not at Rogers.
No. And Blake, just so you know, Blink 182 is in there on Tuesday. So long as all the small things are there, they don't need the big things like the scoreboard.
Such a dad joke, honestly.
Speaking of this scoreboard scoop, I hear you and PJ were in a spat about this on Twitter yesterday, and Grady tells me somehow we got roped in.
No, I think somebody else tried to say, they threw a PJ article at me, PJ was. I gave credit to him in the article. I did mention
the fight is with Wyatt Arndt. That's the fight that's happening right now. Right?
There's always a fight. I mean,
Wyatt and I have been going at it for like the last day about Alex Mogilny, and truth be told, we've been kind of spatting about this for the last few years. Where I actually don't think that I would have put this year. I thought this was the year that Mogilny gets in, and I would have put him in, but I don't think it's an outrage that he didn't get in. I'm looking at Pierre Turgeon's numbers, and I'm going, okay, he outscored him during his career. He has similar points per game averages, which is the big thing for Mogilny. Turgeon was a better playoff performer than Mogilny. They were teammates, and Turgeon would outscore him. The year Mogilny scored 76 goals that everyone talks about, Turgeon scored more points than him that year, scored over 130 points. He was a fantastic player. I know,
but it's not about him versus him. There's 4 slots. That's not the slot people want removed. How about Tom Barrasso, who I had, and this was a great. He's Kelly Rudy with rings. That's not a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah, see, I mean, goaltenders. I'm not sure on goal. I mean, the guy that I think is I've said this for years. The guy that I think is the biggest omission. I was shocked that with the amount of goalies that went in, that he didn't get in, is Curtis Joseph. To me, he's one of the top goalies of his generation. He was, no Stanley Cup, but like, what team was he supposed to win a Stanley Cup with? Like, he did not play behind many great teams.
The Leafs later in his career, that was a very good Leaf team he played with, and they didn't make it past the conference final. But I hear you, Rob. Fair enough. I mean, the St. Louis and Toronto and Edmonton teams were probably not of that class.
Like, who was on Matt Sundin's line? Like Berezin,
Jonas,
Steve Thomas, or
Hoagland, and Alex Mogilny, actually, at different times. Michael Renberg as well.
Yeah,
and then of course he went to Detroit too, and they were a pretty good team. So
he had a quick run in Detroit, and that was his chance to win the Stanley Cup, and he didn't do it there. He didn't win the international gold, but he was regularly picked for Team Canada as being one of their goalies, sometimes as the starter, sometimes as the backup, and that's when Canada dominated goaltenders in the NHL. And Cujo was one of the top goalies for a very long time. He's just behind Henrik Lundqvist in all-time wins, 7th all-time in wins. Like, how is Cujo not in? I don't get that, other than he doesn't have the Stanley Cups. And that's the thing too with Mogilny. Like, Mogilny everyone keeps talking about his Stanley Cup. Like, he scored like 7 points he was like 10th in scoring on New Jersey the year they won the cup. I mean, it's not like he put the Devils on his back to win the Stanley Cup. He won a World Championship and didn't score a single goal during the World Championships. Not that I put any weight into the World Championships either. He won an Olympic gold when the Soviets had professionals against amateurs from Canada. I would have put Mogilny in, but this is not like an outrage. Like, people want to storm the Hockey Hall of Fame because Alex Mogilny didn't get in. To me, he's with a large group of players that were high-scoring wingers in the 80s and 90s, and there's going to be a lot of other guys, Keith Tkachuk, and other forwards, Rod Brindamore, Jeremy Roenick. Like, is he really so much higher than all of those guys? I know he had the talent, but I also saw him score under 20 goals in back-to-back years and get outscored by Marty Jelinek when he was a Canuck. So it wasn't all glory throughout Mogilny's entire career.
There's no doubt the consistency was not his calling card. The highs were extremely high, as you say. The lows were particularly low, and you have to wonder whose cornflakes Curtis Joseph pissed into to not make the Hall of Fame and watch 3 goalies go in for the first time ever, including Vernon and Barrasso, who, I'm with you, Rob. Cujo's best was better than Barrasso's best and better than Vernon's best.
The one thing I'll say with Barrasso is that, I mean, it's before my time. Like, he was, I remember him in the 90s as an average goalie winning cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins. When he was earlier in his career with the Buffalo Sabres, that's when he's got the top things on his resume, and that's before my time. So I will qualify that with Barrasso.
Well, and I think Barrasso gets extra credit, and rightfully so. He played in the NHL at 18 years old in goal. Like, we talk about getting the big, tall, athletic goaltender. Barrasso was very much a forerunner to that guy. There's not many guys that can go from the high school ranks of Boston into the NHL and have success like Barrasso did as a very young teenage player. Okay, let's move on because there's big changes afoot with Canucks.com and Canucks content that they'll be rolling out, including some new personalities. Tell us about that.
Yeah, they've got a couple of new reporters, so they're going to be, telling their own story this next season, which I think is something. Some people roll their eyes at it, of course.
Yeah, I just
right?
did.
Like
I just did a big roll. Yeah,
this is not. I'm not worried about losing readers on the Daily Hive. Like to the Canucks content, but I think that this is something that a lot of other teams do. They produce a lot of behind the scenes. If they produce behind the scenes content and give you things that the mainstream media was not going to give you anyways, because they wouldn't have ever had that kind of access, then I think it's going to be great for fans. And I think that it's something that is well worth, from a team perspective, to do. If they try
Except Rob, they keep inflating the size of their staff, putting them in the press box, and then saying, "Oh, we have no room for outside media," and that's the big problem right there.
If they try that, I mean,
not if they try that. They've tried it. They're doing it. It's underway. It's not if.
I'm well aware, but I think it's one of those things where the team is always going to need a third party, and if they don't realize it, it's going to be to their own detriment. They're always going to need a third party media to be telling the story, because I know, before I was in media, you don't want to be getting your news from the team. You want to be like, everyone understands that that's a biased, that's a biased source. Fans want critique of their team. At least they should, and I think many do. So I'm not worried about it in that respect. Like this should always be a separate thing from the media, because of course it's not media. It's they're team employees.
Yep. You got to have both sides of the conversation, which typically team media does not. All that said, welcome to town, Kay Pedersen, my former colleague at Grey Cup Radio, who has had a terrific career, both stateside and here in Canada, in Toronto and Edmonton. And some might remember her late father, Leif Pedersen, who was a fantastic player in the Canadian Football League and, frankly, one of the builders of Friday Night Football in the CFL on TSN. We lost
a big
Leif.
Congrats and good luck to Hannah Bernard, the departing in-rink reporter, who's expecting and didn't think she was able to. So congrats to Hannah and her beau.
And a very nice lady. Yeah, she sure is. Perfect. Thank you, Rob Williams. We're going to miss you next week, as the draft and everything being crazy on that second day, but we'll catch up a couple weeks down the road.
You're going to miss my hot takes for who they picked in the third round and the fourth round. But
okay. Well, hey, we'll follow you on Twitter.
Get your rankings in order.
Yeah, exactly. We want to see your big board draft
all around. This is the season where we all pretend to be draft experts. Can't wait.
This Sekeres Price clip brought to you by Bodog. Make a play at Canada's choice for free casino games, sports odds, and poker strategies.